Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. And today I'm excited to share with you guys yet again another watch. Now, for those of you who've been watching me for a while, this is not going to be another Invicta watch. And if you're new to the channel, basically I review any kind of products that I get my hands on. Whether that's from sponsorship agreements, things that I just buy, things that pop into my head. I want to share with you guys pretty much anything as a consumer that I make the decision to purchase or receive. YouTube has turned into just a great shopping portal and really, again, almost like a review website where you can get, hopefully, honest, real reviews and opinions on these different products. I have to tell you, most of the time on my channel, you're going to see good positive reviews. There's not a lot of stuff out there that I really consider garbage. Really, what I find is that most companies do produce nice quality items. Now, there are companies who produce really cheap and inexpensive items, and I really can't think of anything like that off the top of my head, but most things that I get that are affordable still give you a level of quality. And remember, guys, like I've always said before, you get what you pay for isn't always true. Sometimes you don't get what you pay for. And I'd rather have something that's affordable, that gives me a lot of bang for my buck for good value. And so today I want to share with you guys a company that goes by the name of Filippo Loreti. And you probably have seen this company on Instagram and on Facebook. And this is one of your, what I would consider like a social media started companies. Now, again, I don't know for 100% if this is how this company got started, but a lot of people compare this company to brands such as like Movement watches, Vincero, companies like that a lot of times either get their start on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, or that are crowd-funded campaigns. I'm not saying that Filippo Loreti is. Basically, I stumbled upon Filippo Loreti because one of my buddies who, and this is the great thing about watch collecting, and the great thing and why I always instill with people who watch my channel that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get involved in this great hobby of collecting watches. Some people are going to have a few watches. Other people are going to have hundreds, like myself, and turn into an addict when it comes to watches. Whatever, I guess, leads you to, collect or get a watch or wear a watch, I think is great because they're not only are they functional, but they're beautiful, and they are a part. They're an accessory. They're part of your wardrobe. And so, for me, again, you guys know that I don't take watch collecting seriously. It's something I enjoy. I absolutely love getting a new watch. I love talking about watches. I love sharing watches, and I just love wearing a cool new watch, and I love having a variety. So if you're like me and we are kind of like-minded in that, you don't want to maybe spend $10,000 on a watch just to tell time, which is really all they do, no matter what you spend on a watch. You can get a lot of really great watches for a great price. And Filippo Loreti is one of these companies. So let me just show you guys what you get with the all their watches, as far as I understand. You guys know I never really get involved too much with the box or the presentation, but I'll show you guys what you do get here. I just happen to have another one of their watches I'm going to share with you guys, but this watch is not the one being reviewed today, but you basically get a cardboard box. It's almost like a fake kind of suede. It's not suede, but it has like a matte finish to it. Cardboard has the Filippo Loreti logo on the side, very, very subtle. You have a cushion on the inside. The box actually opens up, and you have your instruction manual on the bottom, a cloth to wipe the watch down should you want to use it, and then just a kind of faux leather pillow. Some tabs on the side here made of almost like a silk, where you can it allows you to pull this out of the box easier, and then an outer cardboard box. So you guys know I don't really spend a lot of time on the watches or the watch boxes because most people, I think, at least for me, I keep my watches on lock and key because I'm paranoid when it comes to bad in the world, right? So I keep my watches locked up. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, why do you keep your watches locked up when they're inexpensive watches?" Well, because you lock up anything that has value, and these watches all have value to me. I get a lot of enjoyment out of them. I get a lot of fun sharing them on the channel, and so that's how I store my watches in a safe. Now, other people may display them, and to each their own. I just want you guys to know that displaying watches, I think, is cool. You walk into your bedroom, you have your dresser with a nice display box, and there's hundreds of display boxes you can get. The only downside to that is keep in mind with your insurance policies, if you do carry a homeowner's policy, whether you carry a renter's policy or homeowner's policy, a lot of them, unless you schedule each item, you're not going to be covered. So there's a cap on that. So a lot of insurance companies, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, just depends on your particular company. So if you have a huge collection of, you know, $300 watches and bad things happen, you may not get your money back. So different discussion, but just I want you guys to know it's always good to be prepared for bad things. You know, if you have a few watches, not a big deal, but if you have hundreds of watches, you want to make sure you take the proper precautions, security, all that kind of stuff. So with this, again, getting back to the box, if you do want to display your watches, there are nicer ways to do it. I always consider the box as really something to present the watch to somebody as a gift. That's really the best way I think that I can describe, you know, why you'd want a box. You know, I mean, it's packaging, right? So again, I don't get involved too much in it, just like I don't get involved too much in showing off cologne boxes. You know, they go in the garbage can. So the real the meat and potatoes here is this right here, and this is the one I want to share with you guys today. So this one is called the again by Filippo Loreti. Hopefully I'm saying this right. Okeanos. I think I'm saying that correctly. Gray steel link, they call this. So now these watches, my samples, and I want to thank Filippo Loreti for their generosity in sending me 2 watches to share with you guys, which is, I mean, just a perk of having a YouTube channel. You know, it's fantastic to reach out because, guys, I'm not filthy rich, so or rich at all. Other rich in love, rich in life. But anyway, you know, I mean, I have to be picky and choosy with what I spend my money on, like anybody else. And so, but it's great to add to my collection and have these wonderful watches to wear on a daily basis. So again, I want to thank Filippo Loreti and all the other companies that constantly want to work with me. This one is the one I chose to share with you guys today. This is the one that when I first, as soon as I saw it on the website, I had to have it. So what you're getting here with the Okeanos, and guys, remember, now you may be watching the video and say, oh, I've seen watches like that before. There are lots of Rolex homage watches. Now, I'm not saying that this is a homage to a Rolex, because it does have its own thing going on. What I do like about this, and let's face it, we all know that a Rolex Submariner is a very popular watch, and there's hundreds of companies making homage. As you know, you guys, if you haven't seen my video on what I think about homage, I just like to call them copies, right? They're duplicating a style, and again, Rolex is so basic. They're not the ones who came up with that style. It can be argued that they borrowed the style from other companies. So just keep in mind, this is your basic style men's dive watch. So what I do like about this, if we are going to call this a homage, is that I do like the fact that they did their own thing with the band. And I have to tell you, most watches that I reviewed, from Invicta Pro Divers, which are homage watches, to Oceaniva, to replica watches, to what else? What else do I have like this? You know, some of the Boulder watches. I mean, the list goes on and on and on for companies who make watches that look like a Submariner. Neymar, Bull and Watchworks. I mean, and they're all cool. They all get wrist time, but it's nice when they just don't completely try to duplicate a watch and do their own thing. So what I love is that they've kind of did what I kind of consider almost like this hybrid band. And so what I mean by that is that it's sort of a Submariner style band, and I know that a lot of times when it comes to 3-link bands, they all are very similar, but it's cool in the fact that they made each center link polished and more smaller than you would find on your standard Submariner, but round. So you have kind of these rounded, polished links in the middle. I think it's a really rich look. I actually like it more than what you get on your standard Oyster bracelet on like a Rolex. So that's a real perk. One thing I noticed it, and I didn't even really notice it on the website. I really noticed it when I got the watch, because it definitely sparkles pretty nice. I would say it catches the light better than a lot of the homage watches that I have reviewed in the channel. The other awesome thing about this watch is the color combination, and I found that there's not a lot of companies out there, and again, don't come at me and be like, oh, I love this company. There's not a lot of companies who make a lot of orange-faced watches. Orange is a perfect color for diving. Now, I'm not telling you that this is a dive tool. It does have a water resistance rating, but I like orange on a dive watch. One company that I really like is Doxa, and they use a lot of orange on their dials. Doxas are pretty expensive. This watch is pretty cool in the fact that they did this kind of very, very dull, almost matte gray finish with just a little bit of orange in the bezel. So of all the watches out there that are, if we call this a homage or a Rolex Submariner styled watch, there's not a lot of companies doing orange, and definitely not with orange and gray. So this is a very unique color combination to this watch. Now, again, I'm not saying that you won't find other brands doing something similar, but I do find that this watch is pretty unique in that regard. So I love that right off the bat. I'm a huge fan of orange when it comes to a dive watch. And all the other colors too. But I mean, let's not joke here. I love all the colors in watches, but I do think this is really pretty. So you have kind of a chrome polished stainless steel indices, kind of a larger set of hands, and you don't have a day function. You don't even have a second hand on this. It's just strictly minute and hour marker. You do have a threaded crown, of course, like most watches, but it is not screw down, so that does affect your water resistance rating. But again, I'm not a diver. I don't really wear my watches swimming, but you do have some water resistance. There's a misconception with a lot of guys that think that you have to have a screw down crown to be water resistant. You don't get the water resistance you normally would get with a screw down crown, but you still get water resistance. So let me just tell you a little bit about the specs on what we're dealing with here. So you do have a sapphire coated mineral crystal. Again, not true sapphire, but I've never scratched a watch no matter what it's made of. If you're super clumsy with watches, I don't know, maybe your story is different than mine. Have everything from K1 by Aragon, K1 Crystal, Cristerna Sterling watches use Cristerna, Hardlex by Seiko's. You have a Flame Fusion by Invicta. I have Sapphire as well. I have standard acrylic. I've never put a scratch in any watch. If you're a careful watch owner, you're not going to scratch them. And not to say that this doesn't have a level of scratch protection. I've bashed my watches accidentally on a wall a few times. I've accidentally scraped it on things, and I've never put a scrape in any of my watches. I mean, just think about just regular glass. Just go take a bottle and try to scratch it. It's not the easiest thing to do. So there's a lot of hype when it comes to, and I don't want to use the term hype as there's not a genuine benefit to sapphire crystal, but for most people it's really not a big deal to not have a sapphire crystal. But you do have sapphire coated mineral glass. You do have luminescence on the hands and indices, unidirectional rotating bezel, water resistance up to 100 meters. And this is a quartz watch. So this is powered by Miyota 2025, 42 millimeter case diameter, 12 millimeters in case thickness, and it is stainless steel. I assume it's 316, but it does not say that. Quality of the watch, I would say, is on par with any pro diver, any Neymar watch, any Bolin watch works, any watch that's going to be between your $100. I don't like to do this, but your $100 watches, if you're shopping in this ballpark, if you're going to spend $100 to about $200, no matter which brand, or even more, $500, no matter which brand you go with. Aqua Dive, I have Aqua Dive, I have Visser Dive Watch, Alexander, the prices jump all over the place. I can tell you that the stainless steel on a watch like this is on par with any Invicta Reserve, any Invicta Pro Diver. It's a good quality stainless steel. Any of the Aragon watches, it's fantastic. You have solid end links, solid center links, and what I like about the clasp, you have a milled clasp. Sometimes on less expensive watches you will have actually a pressed clasp. I do like that they put their logo on the clasp, just a nice little touch there. Again, all these things are just little extras. They really don't mean anything as far as the quality. Some people don't. A lot of guys complain about branding. People complain about Invicta. Oh, it's got it on the side. It's really personal preference. The only thing I wish I would have liked to have seen on this is a screw down crown, but really it's not that big a deal, because for me personally, I'm not going to take it swimming. I'm not going to dive with it. I really don't test fate when it comes to that, because I'm not using them for any real purpose when it comes to being able to go in the water. But this can. So you do have a screw down case back, which is pretty cool. I did have to take the back off one of the Filippo Loretis because the battery was bad. It just happens sometimes. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of mix up when they sent the watch. If the crown is out and it's sitting around in inventory, it's going to kill the battery. So I did replace the battery in it. Very easy to unthread it. I did it with a simple tool for a do-it-yourselfer. Piece of cake, take your time, not an issue. And you do have the Filippo Loreti branding on the back. And there's a little bit of a story when it comes to the back of this watch. There's they say here, mythology of the ocean stream. So Oceanus is who they have, I believe who they have on the back of this watch. It says the Oceanus was the primordial titan god of the great earth encircling river Okeanos. name of the watch. Okeanos reservoir on all the Earth's fresh water, rivers, wells, springs, and rain clouds. Ancients believe that he was also the god who regulated the heavenly bodies, which rose from and set in his water. So, again, you may be the type of person who appreciates kind of themes with watches. This is not the only company doing that. There's lots of companies who make watches that do have sort of a theme, and honestly, does it make a difference as far as, you know, the performance of the watch and the build? No, but I think it's really cool when I see a company who goes ahead and just does a little bit extra. I like to see a decorated back. It does give a story, and I think it's just nicer than your standard watch back with nothing on it. Just personal preference, not a huge deal either way, but it is a pretty looking back. I mean, hopefully you can see by the video here, you have Oceanus on the back there. I think it's pretty cool. It's just nice attention to detail. A lot of times with less expensive affordable watches, you might have a case back that appears to be threaded, but is actually press-on. This is a threaded case back, so that's fantastic as well. For you guys who judge the quality and need to hear the way the bezel turns, here you go. So nice clean bezel, very smooth, easy to turn. Again, you know, a lot of times when I do these reviews, I'm not going to come on there and tell you guys whether one feels better than another, because ultimately turning a bezel is really personal preference. You may think that turning a harder, stiff bezel means it's a better quality watch. Ultimately, one way to tell the quality of the machining, the bezel, is how much movement you have. Do things line up? I can tell you that guys have said that, you know, a pip not lining up on a Rolex is within standards. So this lines up perfectly. The bezel insert appears to be aluminum, and you can see that cool matte gray finish. Just a slick, clean, I would say, yeah, clean is the best word to describe this. This is a clean looking wristwatch. I love it. I love the color. I've been wearing this one for several weeks now since I got it. I did change it up today, of course, but I think it's a fantastic watch. So let's go ahead and talk about we talked about the quality. It's great. It's on par with anything that I've reviewed. These are limited to 1,762 pieces. I just noticed that now. It does have a 5-star rate or 4.8 star rating out of 5 on their website, and right now you can get this watch for $159. So let's talk a little bit about the value here. I think anytime you get a watch under $200 or something like this is a great value. I know that there are tons of brands out there. You can get Invicta Pro Divers for $69, $80 that are automatic. So I think the only downside to this watch is the fact that it's quartz. I like to see an automatic movement for this price point because there's a lot of companies out there who do provide automatic movements for the $160 under $200 price range. They could have thrown a Seiko NH35 in this. Great, fantastic movement, relatively inexpensive. They went with a quartz movement. Now, again, some of you may really like a quartz. I just like the idea of never having to worry about the battery for the most part, as long as things are working properly, right? But again, technically, a Miyota 2025, although a very inexpensive movement, at least it is a name brand movement, and at least it's a movement that, you're getting a certain level of quality. You're not getting basically a no-name, and again, nothing wrong with no-name. These movements, this isn't rocket science, guys. These aren't space shuttles, like I always say. You have watches that cost $10 that'll last you your entire life. I have watches 20 years old that I got in the mall as a young guy for $10, and they're quartz and they still work. So, this isn't rocket science to make a watch accurate. It does get more complicated as you start getting involved in automatics. Naturally, watches will gain and lose time, and ultimately, it really comes down to the way it's been regulated. And there's no guarantees with accuracy. You can see watches. If you want to spend $8,000, you're probably going to get something like a Rolex that's probably consistently off the line. We hope more accurate, but no guarantees. So that's why they bring them in for your maintenance. Watch, I guess you don't maintain. You wear it, you use it. If it ever dies, you can throw it away or buy a new one or get it fixed. But what's nice about this is that you do have free shipping on these. You do have easy 90-day returns if you're not happy with it. And you have a 10-year warranty. Again, that's subject to the company still being around, which I think they will be, because a lot of times these companies are, there's so many watches out there to choose from. And what I like about this company, what's exciting for me, is that my buddy, he was like, yeah, I got sucked into clicking one of the Instagram ads where a lot of these companies really you know, some of these companies, they get kind of a bad rap because they're heavily marketed. You'll see a lot of watch snobs come on YouTube and say, oh, they push these down your throat, they market them to people unsuspecting, playing that card like people are victims when it comes to these. These are nice watches, guys. And just because you can, you know, the argument is out there sometimes when it comes to these newer brands that, oh, well, you can get a Seiko for this, or you can get this for this. Remember, a Seiko, that you may be able to get a Seiko for maybe $300 or $200, and maybe you're getting a nice watch as well. But, and I'm sure you are, but here's the thing. Just because the Seiko doesn't mean you're getting a superior watch. Would I like to see an automatic movement is? Yeah, and maybe that's something down the road the company will consider doing. I'd rather pay $200 for this watch and have a Seiko NH35 in it than $159 and having a quartz. But again, some people are going to like a quartz. The quartz is going to be more accurate if that is something that's of concern to you. What I think is pretty cool about this too, they didn't put a second hand on it. So I think it's kind of different. Every other sort of homage watch that's styled like this has a second hand. I like the fact they kind of did their own thing with it. So pretty cool. Now if you do like the more traditional colors, your Hulks, your Batman, not Batmans, your Hulks, your blacks, your blues, you can get standard colors as well. I thought this was a really unique color and just different than anything else I had. I don't have any other watch that has this cool gray, matte kind of gray color and 3/4 gray bezel with that orange. I think it's fantastic. It screams dive watch, and I think it's a great looking watch. So without further ado, let's throw on the wrist, something I always like to do. I'm about 5'7". I weigh about 179 pounds, and I have a 7-inch wrist. So this is what a 42mm watch is going to look like on me. Now, you guys know I love my Invictus. I love big watches, but I do wear all size watches. And a lot of times, if I'm not going out somewhere like just hanging around the house, or if I'm just going out running errands or whatnot, I don't always wear, you know, a big giant Invicta. A lot of times I wear smaller watches. So it really just comes down to my mood, what I'm going for that day, whether I'm looking to be super flashy, whether I'm looking to be a little more subdued. It just really depends. You know, it's not... It's not to be overthought. You know, when I decide to wear a watch, I just open up the safe and decide what I want to wear that day. You know, generally if I am going to a casino or going somewhere where maybe I just want to be a little more flashy, I might wear a larger Invicta. But this is a fantastic looking watch. It's classy, and no matter what you match this up with, this watch is very universal. It's very it's a watch you can wear, you know, job interview, dinner, lunch, work, you know, hanging out, whatever. It's very adaptable. I mean, you can really wear this with anything, you know. Whereas, like, if I've got a big giant sea hunter, I may not want to wear that for the entire day, walking around. Let's say I know things are kind of weird right now with, you know, being out in public and stuff like that, but if I'm going to go spend the day maybe on a hike, right, I may not wear a big giant Invicta. You know, I may want to wear something just smaller. If I'm going to go crabbing, go on the boat, I don't want to wear a big giant watch. I want something a little more, you know, a little smaller. So take it for what it is, guys. Again, personal preference. I think it's a fantastic looking watch. Check out that bracelet. I mean, really unique. And again, you know, it's just different than what you're going to find normally on a watch that's styled like this. So anyway, guys, let me know if you have any questions about this, if I can help in any way. I'm always here to help. Go ahead and drop me a comment, drop me an email. My email address is in the description of every single video. I'll put a link in the description where you can check these out to this specific watch. And there are other men's watches. They do have women's watches as well. There's something for everyone. Again, great value. Nice looking watch. Again, I know sometimes guys, oh, you can get a better value here. There's all kinds of values out there. Ultimately, buy what makes you happy. When I was trying to tell you guys, my buddy, he stumbled upon the ad. He's like, you know, I'm not really a watch guy, but these watches kind of brought me in. I was like, all right, excellent. Let me reach out, see if I can get one to share it, you know, see what the quality looks like. So I give it a thumbs up. I think it's great. I think if it's something that you guys have seen in an ad, this video, and it's of interest to you, whatever gets you involved and whatever gets you to throw that watch on the wrist is a good thing. So let me know what you guys think. I'm always happy to hear about it. So anyway, guys, if you like the content, do subscribe to the channel. As always, folks, if you do subscribe, do click the bell to be notified anytime I upload a new video. As always, guys, stay safe out there. Have a great day and take care.